What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Sam Diann, and this is Figuring Out Epilepsy, where we talk about all things epilepsy plus more. Welcome back to another episode of Figuring Out Epilepsy. Today's episode is brought to you by a fellow warrior, Laura. I'll link her Instagram down below. She's inspirational, super supportive, and on top of everything that's wonderful about her, she has the two cutest doggies ever. You know, after Milo, my doggy. So definitely check her out. I'll link her down below. She suggested that I do an episode on epilepsy treatment. Don't really talk about epilepsy treatment too often on my Instagram. So I'm glad she suggested it. Full disclaimer though, I am not a medical professional whatsoever. I did not go to school to be out here treating anyone or giving anyone medical advice. This episode is based on information, and we'll talk a little bit about my treatments, what I have done, what I like, what I don't like. But you should really talk to either your neurologist or epileptologist, depending on who is treating your epilepsy, and see which one works for you, because not all seizure treatments will work for every seizure type. The treatments really go based off your seizure type, the frequency of your seizures, and the location of your seizures. So just because a treatment works for me doesn't mean it will work for you, or vice versa. Treatments are very an individualized plan. So to get started, I do have my notes. So if you see me looking down, we know epilepsy memory, that epilepsy memory gets to us and we are not always able to remember. So I wrote everything down so I'm able to remember or know what to say, and I don't forget anything for you guys. The first treatment I want to talk about is brain surgery. Brain surgery consists of removing the part of the brain where the seizures are located or where it starts. Several tests are done to pinpoint the location of a seizure, like EEGs, SEEGs. It's so many, just because it really, if you're going to remove part of the brain, you really want to be accurate with where the location starts. And they have a newer technique with lasers where, rather than completely removing the part of the brain where the seizures are at, they'll use the lasers to heat up that part of the brain and destroy it. So it's less invasive, you can say. And brain surgery can be intimidating. One of my family members did suggest brain surgery when I was a teenager, and I completely shut that down because it just sounds terrifying, brain surgery. But I do know of several people that has gone through brain surgery, and it has helped them immensely. Some have reduced their seizures, and some are seizure free for a few years now. I do highly recommend reading the book I Hate This Feeling by Joe Rodriguez. He is someone that has had brain surgery. I believe he is 6 years seizure free now. It's been a few years since his brain surgery, and he's been seizure free all since his brain surgery. And that book really goes into detail about his journey, his different treatments that he's tried, and his experience with brain surgery. So if you're considering brain surgery, I highly recommend I highly recommend reading that book. I'll have the link below where you can find it. I also have it on my Instagram in my bios. If you are ever on Instagram, definitely check out that book. Another epilepsy treatment is called extracranial neurostimulators. The most common one is the VNS or the vagus. I hope I'm saying that right. Nerve stimulation. What it basically is like a pacemaker, similar to a pacemaker type of device. It's implanted under the skin, under the collarbone, and and that device is connected to the vagus nerve by a wire, which then pumps 30-second electrical impulses every 5 minutes. And this device is supposed to help control your seizures. I'm going to read the definition of a seizure off of the Epilepsy Foundation just to get an accurate definition of it. But what a seizure is a sudden and temporary change in electrical and chemical activity in the brain, which leads to a change in a person's movement, behavior, level of awareness, and or feelings. So the thought behind the stimulators is kind of to combat the electrical change that happens in our brains before a seizure. Another type of neurostimulation is the RNS, or the responsive neurostimulation. A neurosurgeon will insert electrodes in one or more regions of the brain, depending on the location of the seizures. So this one, the RNS, the electrodes will detect the onset of a seizure. The onset is the beginning of the seizure, and trigger an electrical impulse. So think of the RNS as like fighting fire with fire. It's really more, I feel something. The device will really be like, I feel something changing in the activity in the brain, and I'm gonna pump this out. I'm gonna pump this electrical activity to normalize it, and it's supposed to help control your seizures. Another neurostimulation is the DBS, which is the deep brain stimulation. This one is similar to the RNS, but the electrodes are implanted deep within the brain region called the thalamus. And unlike the RNS, it stimulates on a regular basis and has been shown to be effective for focal seizures. And this is what I mean when I say not every epilepsy treatment is effective for everyone, because the DBS is shown to be good for those with focal seizures. So people who have focal seizures might gravitate more towards that type of treatment rather than someone who has tonic-clonic seizures like myself. The next medical treatment that I want to talk about is medical marijuana. I have tried medical marijuana. I did have my medical card for about a year, I believe it was. And this treatment became popular in 2013 with Charlotte's Web. If you Google Charlotte's Web or you YouTube Charlotte's Web, I'm sure you can find lots of information on it. I've seen lots of videos and documentaries on it. And it became popular when this little girl, Charlotte, was living with Dravet syndrome, a severe form of genetic epilepsy. This little girl was having several seizures a day, and her parents didn't know what to do because none of the medications that she's tried has worked for her. So she started taking CBD oil. CBD is the compound found in the cannabis plant. CBD will not make you high. That's not a side effect of it. If you're taking medical marijuana and it has THC, that part will make you high. So if you're going to do medical marijuana, I suggest doing it just CBD oil or just CBD. That way you're still able to get the really full benefits of the treatment, and it's a concentrated part of the cannabis plant. I have tried medical marijuana. Like I've said, I wasn't a fan of it. It honestly didn't do anything for me. I did smoke it. That's probably why it wasn't very effective, to be quite honest. And I did the edibles. They're delicious. The edibles are delicious. You can't even taste it. You can't even taste the marijuana, but it wasn't, honestly, this treatment wasn't really effective for me. I didn't like it. I didn't like the way I felt on it, and I wouldn't do it again, but everyone's journey is different. So another, and probably the most common epilepsy treatment is medication. I do take epilepsy medication or anticonvulsant medications. I take Lamictal and Zonegran twice a day, once in the morning and once at night. I also take clonazepam. Clonazepam is my rescue medicine. I take that whenever I feel like I'm about to have a tonic-clonic seizure and a couple days before my period, because if you have been following me on Instagram, you may know that my seizures have a lot to do with my hormones and my period. My first seizure was around my first period, and every month after that, I would always have a seizure around my first period up until my daughter was born. After my daughter was born, I was 2 years seizure free. No medications, no nothing. I was good. After the 2 years were up, it went back to having seizures. But rather than every month, it was every couple months. And that's kind of where my seizures are now. Every 3-4 months, I'll feel like I'm about to have a tonic-clonic seizures, or if I'm not taking care of myself properly. And we'll really go into that a little bit later. I have never been diagnosed with catamenial, I hope I said that right, epilepsy. I know that I have it just based on the patterns of my seizures. I know I have it, but I need to see an epileptologist to get that diagnosis. I haven't gotten that diagnosis. But with medication, it is a rigorous and, I'm going to be honest, it's a brutal process. The side effects can be horrific. The side effects is probably the worst part of medication. And most people with epilepsy will take what we call a cocktail of medicines. It's not just one medicine. It's quite a few. Like me, I take 3 different medicines at different times, different medicine for different times. And not every medicine works for everybody. Some people do well on Capra or Depakote. I take Lamictal, Zonegran, and clonazepam, and they have worked well for me. The side effects I have dealt with are swollen gums. I have lost my hair. I have problems with my weight, losing weight, gaining weight. Right now, I'm like at the heaviest I've ever been in my life. But that also has to do with my diet. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I've gone through anxiety attacks, panic attacks, suicidal thoughts. I'm a very sensitive person when it comes to medication. I always end up getting the worst side effects. I honestly get it from my mom. My mom is the same way. My brothers are the same way. We're all really sensitive with medication. We can't take medicine, so we tend to do the more natural route, like supplements and herbal teas and things like that. But as far as epilepsy is concerned, I do take medicine and I do take supplements. I don't talk about the supplements very often because it's not a treatment that most neurologists or epileptologists, as far as the ones I have met, will talk about. The supplements is more of a thing that I tried on my own. And I go to Arizona to see someone about these supplements. So she'll test my whole body, see how I'm doing, and check all my levels and everything. And she'll prescribe me the supplements I should be taking based on what she sees. I find that it has helped me. The problem with this treatment is that it's not covered by insurance, so I have to pay out of pocket for this treatment, and it can get quite expensive. If I'm being honest. So that's another reason why I don't like to talk about as far as my supplements go. But I do see that it has helped me. It has definitely cleared up my skin. I used to have really bad acne. My face was all broken out, and my periods were irregular. They were all over the place, and and the acne went away. My periods are more regular now, and so as far as my hormones are concerned, I think it's doing better with the supplements. Another treatment that I have tried is called neurofeedback. It's basically a machine, and think of it like an EEG where you're connected to a machine with wires, and it's all up in your hair, and the same goo is the electrodes are stuck to your hair and all that. And what it's supposed to do is correct your brain and kind of treat it to where you don't have seizures. It's basically teaching your brain to regulate itself properly rather than having all these missed signals of electricity in your brain. What I will say about this is that I didn't see it make much of a difference in my life. I do know someone who, they don't have epilepsy. They have a different disorder as far as the brain is concerned, and it has helped them. They do really well on neurofeedback. Again, I don't think this is covered by insurance because we did have to pay for it out of pocket. I'm not sure now. I did hear something about them wanting to have it be covered by insurance. I'm not sure. You're going to have to talk to your insurance company, and you're going to have to talk to your doctor about it too. But it is supposed to kind of teach your brain how to function properly, basically. And you're connected to a device like just think about like an EEG. You're connected to a device like EEG, and you see the brain waves, and yeah, it's just teaching your brain how to regulate itself. I didn't see a difference for me, but I know someone that it does help. Another epilepsy treatment. This is one that I haven't tried, but I do want to try, and it's the keto diet. You may have heard of the keto diet. It's become really popular in the health community as far as weight loss is concerned and lifestyle. But it was first introduced to children that did not do well on anticonvulsant medications back in the 1920s. Fun fact, it was originally for those children with epilepsy. But like I said, it has become more popular. And what this diet is it's high protein and high healthy fats and low carbs. And when I say by healthy fats, I mean like avocado. I'm not talking about that bomb greasy burger that you get at like In-N-Out or something. It's not that type of fat. It's healthy fats like avocados. I think olive oil is another one, and almonds. It's more of a reducing your carbs and getting all that other good stuff, because carbs does turn into sugar, and one of my triggers is sugar. If I have too much sugar, I can have it will trigger my eye twitches, and my eye twitches can trigger a tonic-clonic seizure. So this is why I want to try the keto diet, just because the concentration is on high protein, high healthy fats. And something that I have been told so many times is that I need to eat more protein. I am not good when it comes to meat and protein like eggs. I know you can get plant-based protein, but I'm not good when it comes to meats. I'm very particular. The texture sometimes grosses me out. The taste sometimes grosses me out. But I do know that I need to eat more protein, so I need to vary my diet more, and just have a more well-balanced diet. I do need to do low carbs, because like I said, it turns into sugar, and sugar is a trigger for me. You can find your triggers just by having a epilepsy diary, a seizure diary. If you kind of write down your day-to-day, what you eat and what you do that day, exercise, temperature of the weather, because weather can be a trigger for some people. Just get as detailed as you can, and you kind of start seeing a pattern. You start seeing a pattern as far as what happens before each seizure. And that's kind of how I figured out, even though I've never technically been diagnosed with catamenial epilepsy, I know I have it because my first seizure was around the time of my first period, and ever since then, a seizure is always around that time, hands down. So I highly suggest starting a seizure diary if you haven't figured out all your epilepsy triggers. And the last treatment I want to talk about is lifestyle changes. Epilepsy can be triggered by a lot of things. It can be triggered by stress. It can be triggered by sex. It can be triggered by drugs and alcohol. If you out here drinking and then you have a seizure, maybe alcohol is a trigger for you. You may want to change your lifestyle accordingly. So if stress is a trigger for you, then you want to get a hobby, do something that relaxes you. If you feel like you're stressing out too much, take a step to the side and do something else, and refocus and just relax. Hobbies are a wonderful thing. I crochet. I've been doing it for 7 years now. I love to crochet. I believe Bree, aka SoCal Epilepsy, I believe she posted on Instagram that crocheting is really good for those with epilepsy. I can't remember why, but I'm pretty sure she wrote that because I know that she also crochets. Reading, whether it's books based off of people's lives with epilepsy or if it's self-help books, or maybe you like to read like romance books like I do with Nicholas Sparks. Absolutely adore his books. Reading can be wonderful. It can be very helpful as well. I also highly recommend gratitude journaling. My favorite one is by Clever Fox, and I buy them off Amazon. I'll have a link below. I absolutely love it because you write in the morning and you write at night. So the first thing I do, I get up, I write in my gratitude journal, and right before I go to bed, I write in my gratitude journal. And it really helps with perspective and just seeing all the wonderful blessings that we have, and see that even though life with epilepsy is hard, it's not an easy thing to live with. It'll help you focus on all the positive and wonderful things that you do have in your life. So I highly recommend gratitude journaling. Self-care days. I'm all about self-care. What I like to do for my self-care days is my nails. I love to have my nails done and all that, but I'm not about to pay $100+ for my nails. We bougie on a budget over here. I ain't gonna pay that. The heck? No, thank you. So I do my own nails. I'll do press-on nails. I'll do gel nails. I have a whole little kit on doing my nails, and I'll put either music on or I'll put a movie that I feel like watching, and I'll go to town and just do my nails. It's wonderful. You take care of yourself, and at the end, you feel better when you're put together. When it comes to stress, though, I'm kind of neurotic, honestly. It's part of my charm. But if I have a chaotic environment, as far as like there's mess everywhere and it's just dirt or it's dirty or it's just chaos in my environment, I begin to stress out, and I really enjoy cleaning. I'll put music on and I'll start cleaning each and every one of my rooms in my house, and I find cleaning relaxing. So if you're neurotic like me and you need a clean environment, clean. It's wonderful. It's like detoxing. That's how I feel. It's great, especially when you out here blasting music. It's like a party. It takes me all day to clean sometimes. But yeah, I hope those suggestions helped a little bit, and I hope everyone is able to find a treatment for them that has helped. Like I've said, I take medication, supplements. I am going to change the way I eat. I know I need to eat better. And I'm also going to incorporate exercise. I have talked to one of my friends who lives a very healthy lifestyle, and hopefully I can get into the routine of working out every single day. Exercise is wonderful for not only our bodies but our brains, and to reduce stress. So it can be so hard to incorporate exercise, especially with epilepsy fatigue. Trust me, I'm tired every single day. I'm running on empty every single day. And I need a nap every single day. But exercise is so great for us. Yoga is supposed to do wonders for those of us with epilepsy. So I highly recommend you incorporate exercise. Sometimes I honestly don't even get out of bed when I exercise. I'll just grab like these 5-pound, 10-pound weights that I have, and I'll just start doing like, I don't even know what the exercises are called, but I'll just start moving my arms or my legs or whatever. And with these weights, and I'll just exercise in my bed, or I'll exercise laying down, just to have some sort of exercise in my life, and rather than being in bed all day, because it being in bed and all day, it's not good for you at all. So definitely try to incorporate some sort of exercise. Be like me and do it in bed where you're comfortable and watching TikTok. Maybe I'll post some videos on YouTube or something of my exercises that I do, my lazy girl exercises. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to Laura for the suggestion. I hope everyone finds the correct treatment for them and they're able to live a wonderful and fulfilling life with epilepsy. It is completely possible. Even if you aren't seizure free, I don't consider myself seizure free, just because if it wasn't for my rescue medicine, I would still be having seizures every few months. So I don't consider myself seizure free, even though I haven't had a tonic-clonic in a few years. But um, a fulfilling and wonderful life is completely possible with epilepsy. It may take a little bit of work, but don't give up. Don't give up on yourself, on your journey, and keep trying until you find the right treatment for you. So love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.